Cheng-Yi. I'm from the Hamilton Sundstrand and Rocketdyne, and this is a work on the presentation. Thanks for the academy for these opportunities. And when we're talking about the Rocketdyne, and you may know that Pratt & Whitney Rocketdyne's capabilities, which they built the space shuttle main engine, which powered the shuttle for 30 years. But at the same location, same campus, there also is Hamilton Sundstrand Rocketdyne, and we work on space power for 50 years. Next, please. 35 years ago, we launched the US one, the only one, the fission nuclear power called SNAP-10A. And also we built the most powerful spacecraft in 100 kilowatt International Space Station. And for the next Mars mission, Mars Science Laboratory, our MMRTG, that stands for multi-mission radioisotope, the thermoelectric generator, will power the whole the vehicles.